Hey folks, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted.
Today we ask the question, is unofficial Dungeons & Dragons content ruining your D&D game? I want to start this video by thanking our sponsors, D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond has a plethora of official content as well as unofficial content over there. They've got Unearthed Arcana, they've got homebrew content, they've got all kinds of content that's going to make it much easier to sort and find for your game, and they have easy buttons to click whether you only want official or unofficial or mix and match. It's all there over on D&D Beyond.
All right, so it begs the question, unofficial, official, how do you go?
I honestly never even considered this question before. More recently, the internet has exploded. Wizards of the Coast did something that was slightly questionable, according to certain members of the community, right? So it kind of raises this question of official, unofficial, what D&D content is acceptable. And really the thing that brought this on was the Wayfinders Guide to Eberron was recently released in the DM's Guild. And they themselves did some backpedaling. Like, one thing is saying it's playtesting. There's a tweet from Mike Merles going, no, this is official D&D content. This is a living document. We're going to update it. At the same time, they released on Unearthed Arcana, which is all playtest, unofficial content that a big chunk of, like 11 pages of, ends up in this product. So, like, the internet was afire. And to be honest with you, when we first started playing the game, 20 years ago, we never thought official. We just played the game.
Let's look at 20 years ago.
Okay.
20 years ago, we had second edition, and that's what there was. There was no concept of third-party material because there was no open gaming license. But at the same time, every single gaming group that we knew is like, okay, this is what we're playing. I'm going to allow this, I'm not going to allow that, I'm going to change these rules because this is my table, this is what I want to do. And that's just was the D&D experience, right?
That's pretty accurate. You had one company, you had TSR. The supplemental material you might get was from Dragon Magazine. I almost feel like there was maybe another publication as well that might have been out there that was non-TSR. But we're going back a ways. I don't remember. You got in the comments. Let me know if you guys remember. I know some of you guys.
There literally was
nards.
Dungeon Magazine for the DMs and Dragon Magazine for the players.
Yeah, but they were both TSR.
Okay.
No, I feel like there was something else out there. But I'm sure if there was, one of you guys or gals will help me remember. But yeah, so we never really considered it. One, because there wasn't a whole lot of options. It might have been like something that someone else has used in their game and then you put it in your game, but that was it. But now, the D&D communities are so connected. Even, and it's really weird, too, the discussions that happen. Because, looking at this latest product they released, I mean, I'm looking at the people that wrote it, right? Mm-hmm. Jeremy Crawford, Mike Merles, Kate Welch, Rudy Rutenberg, and Keith Baker. In case you don't know, Keith Baker actually was the one that created the campaign setting for Eberron, won the contest. So, I mean, in essence, it's kind of his. He had help and developed it with others. So, and I also know that Keith Baker has been advising Maze Arcana, which is Rudy Rutenberg and Satine Phoenix, on Eberron for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Maze Arcana had got the green light from Wizards of the Coast to use that setting in their stream games. So, as far as how much of that material actually went into their games and it's kind of been play tested that way, I don't really know. And I guess that's the main thing when people talk about official and unofficial is maybe the amount of playtesting.
Right. Well, I look at it and it's an argument that is out there, but how much credence does it really have? We know that the Unearthed Arcana stuff, the Wizards of the Coast is using that to essentially play test that material for us and decide whether there's any interest in it and whether it goes into the published book. So some of that stuff has become play tested, has become official, and is in the books that are on the shelves, all across the world. Whereas, other things, it might not get play tested, but it still might wind up in the books anyway.
Yeah, I feel depending on what company it's from, it probably will get playtester, right? If it's Wizards of the Coast, there's some kind of like process, and I know like Cobalt Press has their own process. But like as you get to like smaller and smaller companies, you're going to get less and less playtesting. So for us, I would have to say that early on in our D&D career, we switched from playing 2nd edition to 3rd edition. And with 3rd edition, we got the OGL, Open Gaming License, which means other companies could now publish Dungeons and Dragons material and and sell it to the masses. That is the first time I think we were ever really seeing this is official Wizards of the Coast products, and this is unofficial Wizards of the Coast, or it's not Wizards of the Coast, so making it unofficial products where we had other things that we could enter into our games. And I just remember looking back at those days of gaming and going, oh, it's Mongoose Publishing. I usually like their stuff. It's usually pretty good. Every once in a while, they get a little wonky and crazy and create a power like killing machine where you could cleave and take a 5-foot step and keep doing it. As long as there was always someone to kill, but you didn't actually have to have enough movement because it would keep giving you the 5-foot step.
Right.
That could have used a little bit of a wording tweak there. But like you could like kill your way around the globe in 6 seconds.
In 6 seconds, yes. No, I mean there was Swords of Sorcery, and there I think it was the Creature Collections, and it's over here on the shelf behind me. And I really enjoyed their monster manuals. I know. There was Green Ronin, and we used a lot of their material as well.
Yeah, so there was a bunch of companies, and like we never even really gave it a lot of thought. It was just like, do I like the stuff they're putting out or not to use in the game? And every once in a while, someone might pull something out weird to be like, nah, no. But like these weren't big discussions we were having at the table.
Right.
We were just playing the game, and there would be a stack of all kinds of books on the team from various different companies. But now, like, the D&D communities are so large. They're so interconnected between Twitter and Facebook. And Reddit. So we have lots of ways to fight about this stuff. But I have to really ask the question, does it matter?
We talked about playtesting, and, playtesting is going to be the deciding factor. And is it better balanced, than what's official? Does that matter if you feel as the GM, all right, this power is equivalent to something else that's out there, and they get it at around the same level, then sure, why not? But ultimately, as the GM at your table, you're going to be the one to make that call. So what does it matter if GM over there on the other side of the world says, no, I don't like that in my game, I don't allow it? What's the point in fighting?
There isn't one, really. At the end of the day, I feel like all of us use unofficial material all the time, and it never comes up. I mean, is the difference because you're paying for it versus it's just stuff you made up and put in your game? I don't know. It doesn't matter, right? Like, so what? If this company charges me $20 for this product and I want to buy it and put it in my game, what is it hurting? What's going to affect things overall? So I don't understand like why people fight over this stuff online or why they even care. It's all about the experience of your individual table and what your gaming group likes. There's no right or wrong way to play this game. There's a right or wrong way for your particular table, but for the hobby, for the game itself, nah. We're all just nerds playing make believe.
I mean, let's look at what happens at the tables and call out the PHB and the DMG. PHB has optional rules in it, and the DMG says if there's something you don't like, change it, do what you want. So I know there's games out there, streamed and unstreamed, that there's GMs who are like, what, I don't like this rule, I'm going to throw it out. Or I don't think this is balanced well enough, I'm going to make these changes. So if you play in my game, this is what's there. They're automatically homebrewing their D&D 5th edition, for their table. And that's great. Ultimately, when I'm the DM, if something is official, unofficial, I don't really care. I want to look at what you're playing. If it's D&D Wiki, probably not. But for the most part, I like a lot of the big companies that are out there. They're making great material, and I'm a nerd. I want everything I can get my hands on. I want those books on my shelf to be able to say, oh, well, what options do I have? And if I like it, great. Now we've got some new choices to make.
You know, here's one thing you've brought up several times, and that's the idea of balance. Is it balanced or not? Well, even if you look at 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, the core books, you know, Mike Merles and the rest of the design team have said over and over again, we intentionally design things unbalanced, right? Perfect example. Fireball. It's a 3rd level spell. It's always been a 3rd level spell, and it is, for its level, better than most other spells. And they said, why is that? Because it's an iconic Dungeons and Dragons spell, and we want this spell to be better than other things because it's freaking Fireball. Come on.
I mean, you know, unless you have the ideal, setup, Fireball's going to get more targets than Lightning Bolt. They do the same amount of damage, but Fireball is going to overall hit more targets and thus do more damage.
So the main point, though, is even the designers break the balance, right? But it's not that important to them. And, you know, this is something to take into consideration when you're thinking about these things. And at the end of the day, doesn't matter. You just have to decide what is right for your game and your table. Who cares what's happening on a table across the country or across the world? It doesn't affect your fun. So
true.
You know, everyone can play the game however they want. It doesn't even matter. You know, even one of the arguments I seen made from somebody was, it's like they were arguing that, you know, Wizards of the Coast released this product, but it's not official. I don't know if they're angry because Wizards put a price tag on it or what, but that same person runs a game for another company that would be unofficial content, right? That, you know, I have that content. I bought it. The company puts out great content, you know, so I don't see the difference. Like, sometimes I just think people like to fight and argue for the sake of arguing. But, you know, like, there's better ways to spend our energy. Like, I don't know, playing another game of Dungeons and Dragons instead of fighting over, you know, which content's official, what's not. Just figure it out. The only people you have to figure out with are the ones that you're sitting at the table with, and really, ultimately, then the DM will get to say, you know, so it's like one person, right? One guy or gal who's going to say, you know, we can use this or we can't use this. Here's the list of the approved or unapproved or whatever. But the question is, guys, gals, what are you doing in your Dungeons and Dragons game? How are you guys playing it at home? Unofficial, official, doesn't matter. Do you even care? We got a place where we can talk about it. That's down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And if you want to check out the official or unofficial material over on D&D Beyond, head to the description below and check them out.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.